Hello everybody, this is Nico Novum Del Valle, and I am here with Christian Bear Apanero to bring you the North American Master League Weekend Championship. Right now we're doing the Winners Bracket Semifinals, WPV versus EPG. And we're going to be getting into the game. First ban comes out for Windows Photo Viewer as Elise.
Yeah, and we're going to see a second game here from EPG, who really rolled their game yesterday and won very convincingly. So we'll see if they can again show that they're a little bit above the rest of the field, or if Windows Photo Viewer can actually keep up to par and give them a good game. I see Soraka ban coming out, which, Soraka is just one of the most annoying supports to play against. Those heals come out so fast, and so much health, gives you a little bit of resistance. It's really frustrating to play against.
Definitely. And we did see EPG yesterday. We have commented that we think they are the strongest shot calling team in this league from what we've seen so far, but I do think WPV definitely has a chance. We didn't get to see much of them yesterday because they rolled their game so hard. Talisman finished the game with 18 kills and only 3 deaths. It was insane. His kill participation was high. He did a ton of damage. He had that vein. So we're going to have to watch the bot lane for WPV here, because if they go that big again, then EPG is going to have a really hard time of it.
Yeah, Talisman had a fantastic game, but I think a lot of it came from combat flex. That was the game that we saw the Maokai get so humongous. He got so tanky right off the bat. He was really able to bully a Hecarim on the other side, and having a frontline that's big, that's going to let Talisman roam so free and just scroll for days. So we'll see if that'll happen again, and if Talisman is going to have a little bit of an easy game with his top laner very tanky, and the rest of the bands coming out. We see Alistair band, who again, we've seen him a couple times throughout the tournament. Awesome objective control, just a very, very safe laner. Azir, who's been, for the most part, perma banned, and Gangplank as well has been banned a couple times, and an Aurelia band coming out as well.
We do see Combat Flex picking up Echo as the first pick. This is a big flex pick coming out from WPV. They could put it in the mid lane, they could put it in the jungle, they could put it in the top lane. You never know where this Echo is going to go, so I'm definitely excited to see where it is. It's probably going to be in the jungle. There's been a ton of jungle Echo play, so we'll see if it still goes there, or if this is just a trick to lure EPG into a bad situation. They are going to pick, they are going to have this Janna now, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm going to assume that that's going to be an Echo jungle. Obviously, you have some flex opportunity there, but most likely going to be a jungle Echo, and I don't think we've seen too much Janna so far, and I don't think we've seen any Rek'Sai either, so we'll see if they lock in these picks here.
This would be a pretty good pick. Get that disengage, get that global pressure from Rek'Sai. They have decided to lock them both in, and we're going to see how WPV responds in this next rotation. They are hovering that Braum, countered to the disengage power of Janna.
Yeah, and Rek'Sai, I don't think we've seen a Rek'Sai this tournament yet, so that'll be nice to see. Rek'Sai still very good clear in the jungle. You have that global presence. You still have strong ganks early on with the knockup. Very, very strong pick in the jungle, and Braum, we've said so many times how strong of a support it is. We've seen him played in so many games. We might see Talisman on bait again as well.
That does seem to be the case. Talisman, as I said, he did go enormously huge yesterday, but so did his support Transon, who was on Janna. So I think the reason that EPG decided to pick up that Janna was to take it away from Transon. But there's definitely more picks in that situation. And actually, I think in a situation where you're going to be put on the Braum, that Tristana is going to be the better pick, and they do decide to pick it up. Tristana just has a much easier time cracking that passive, thanks to the attack speed buff, and honestly, I just think Tristana is an amazing AD carry, able to jump around as much as she wants, but we'll see how effective it proves to be.
Yeah, so they have that Braum and Tristana locked in. We'll see what the next 2 picks are coming from the side of EPG. Hovering for now Lucian, who has been seeing a little bit more play lately. He's got a couple little busts here and there. Haven't seen too much variety yet in the AD carries yet this tournament. We've seen a lot of Vayne come out, a lot of Tristana as well.
I love my Lucian, man. Awesome champion, able to dash everywhere. He's so fun to play, also effective. We're going to see what Oxblazer is going to pick up here, whether he's going to pick up his pick or just going to save for the last. looks like he is going to save, the team of the EPG is going to save the mid lane for their last pick, try and get that counter, try and see what's going to come out last. They decide to go with the Maokai, a very tanky front line they got going right there.
Yeah, big fan of Maokai. He's just so safe, gives you so much utility, good CC up in the top lane, very big pickup. And Lucian is locked in as well, who we'll see how well EPG can play this Lucian with those small little buffs in there. I think he's a very good pick, especially with Janny. He's going to be able to dash in and out. He's going to have a good front line and a lot of disengage to keep him alive here.
Yes, he will. We've seen quite a few different picks being hovered. They did play this Orianna yesterday, so we'll see if they pick that up again. Izumi had a pretty good game on that. The Gnar is going to be locked in for the top lane. I'm guessing New York is not going to be locked in. I'm guessing it's going to be that Orianna. Izumi played it yesterday. He went pretty big on it. Helped out Talisman. And they made sure that the utility that their composition was packing made it easy for Talisman to carry that game. But yep, it seems like it's going to be locked in. Only 1 second left. Yep, no tricks. Okay, so let's see what Oxblazer takes into that. It is an Orianna, so it's not the easiest pick to counter. It's a very safe wave clear champion, and as long as Izumi is not pushing up way too far in his lane, he should be fine.
Yeah, and we saw that Orianna be able to be played very well when Combat Flex had that big Maokai. He's able to just throw that ball right on Maokai, get some good ultimates down to hit multiple people. Really, really well played yesterday by Izumi in the mid lane, and we might see a Victor come out from the other side, which we've seen plenty of Victor throughout the tournament. Just such a great laner, and if you're going to pick anyone into Orianna, Victor is definitely one that will do well.
Yeah, and the thing is that this mid lane pick is going to be absolutely really big for EPG. Whatever they decide to pick, it needs to be something that's going to be strong. Because with Lucian, he's not the highest damage AD carry in the game. You pick Lucian for his mobility and his abilities to get around a fight. You don't pick him so much to be super high damage. Yes, he's pretty decent in the late game, but there's no way he's ever going to be able to compete with Tristana, regardless of whether or not he has that Janna shield on him.
Yeah, and we do see that Victor locked in, so we'll see him in the mid lane, which I think is really a good pick in almost any scenario. He has that potential for really high damage. He can kite opponents. He has zone control with his gravity field. Just a really, really strong pick overall. And I'm actually really liking the team comp coming from EPG here. I think it's really, really strong. You have some disengage from Janna, a good front line in Maokai and Rek'Sai, and Lucian and Victor are going to be able to pump out damage from behind them.
Yes, they will. And with this Janna, it's a lot of counter engage, like disengage for that team. They also have engage in the form of Maokai once he hits Righteous Glory, and Rek'Sai once she can get that tunnel up. If they can get into that fight, I think that they have a serious advantage here, just because Lucian and Victor are going to be very protected from any form of counter engage that WPV decides to bring out. And if WPV is going to engage, they need to make sure that they get the right timing on that Gnar bar, and they get Izumi into the right position. Because if you can combine that Gnar bar, that Gnar ultimate, with Shinichi Shockwave, that's going to be a really huge combo. If you can just Shockwave and knock an entire group into a wall. And this was what I think this is actually what they ran yesterday, and it was very effective. So I'm very excited to see whether they can pull that off, or whether EPG is going to be able to use their stronger protection of their strong protection of the backline in order to keep WPV off of them and make sure Victor has the time to get his cooldowns back and do as much damage as he can. Because I think as far as damage potential goes, if he gets ahead, then he's going to do more damage than Izumi in team fights.
Yeah, and I'm really expecting to see some pretty big team fights coming from both sides here. Just a lot of CC, good front lines, and a lot of damage potential from both sides. It's really to come down to if either side gets a big advantage during laning phase, if either junglers can get some really good ganks off, and then how well are they going to play that mid game. We saw, a really dominant performance from EPG. They really had fantastic ward control. They had great synergy throughout the team. Really able to get some good fights down. WPV played well too. We'll see if they can hold up to it and stay at the same level. I am very interested to see too how well the top laners can get some TPs down for joining other team fights.
I'm also so yeah, the middle lane is probably going to think to be the most important matchup for both of these teams, just because Maokai is not the big champion that loses lane. And in the bottom lane, while Lucian is really actionable without an engaged support, he doesn't have a lot of methods to get in there and attack. But in the middle lane, you have Oxblazer, and he can, with his death ray, he can poke her outside the range of the tower, so he's going to be able to do some good damage regardless of what position Shinichi is in. I want to see Artha coming into this mid lane, setting up Oxblazer just like he did yesterday, because Oxblazer and Artha's synergy yesterday was amazing. It was by far the strongest part of EPG's team. The synergy between the jungle and the mid laner, the way they comboed their abilities in order to set up things for each other was extremely impressive, and I want to see that, and I especially want to see if EPG's shot calling holds up against what seems to be a better team.
Yeah, we will definitely see how that goes in the mid. And just talking a little bit about the mid lane again, we see Victor actually opting to take Ghost in addition to Flash. I think he swapped at the last second. A lot of Victors can really take a couple different spells. Some take Ignite for that pressure, some take Cleanse in certain situations where there's a lot of CC on the other side of the team just so we could get out of those sticky situations. Some even take Barrier or Heal just for those extra defensive stats, but he opts for Ghost, a very aggressive summoner spell setup. We'll see how well he can use that Ghost and see if it pays off for him.
Yep, and that's going to be the end of Champion Select as we move into the loading screen. We're going to be seeing the starting lineups coming up on your screen any moment. We're going to have Windows Photo Viewer in their show-off against EPG. Definitely, probably our favorite for the matchup, just because EPG has been so dominating so far. But let's see if they could hold up against the other member of the winner's bracket that they're facing off against in the semifinals. That's going to be Windows Photo Viewer. And Windows Photo Viewer is going to be on the blue side with Combat Flex in the top lane, X Confidence in the jungle, Izumi Shinichi in the middle lane, Talisman and AD Carry, and Trance and Gukyu at support. And on the red side, we're going to have Euphorium Gaming with Master Poopy in the top lane, Artha in the jungle, Oxblazer in mid, Neeks at AD carry, and the Jambition at support. And let's see if their emergency sub as an AD carry is able to pull off what Koro did yesterday. Wasn't really the focus of their team, the bottom lane, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. Some pings going out. Looks like everyone's just going to run to the line of scrimmage as we're getting onto the rift.
Yeah, and we'll see if either team decides to do a little bit of invade. We saw that last game where all of the red side opted to invade that bush down bot. They ran into that tri-bush. A little bit of a skirmish right in the beginning. But a lot of teams, again, have been playing pretty defensive for the most part in the beginning.
Definitely. Yep, everyone's going to be going back to this defensive start because for the invading team, things got a little bit chaotic the last game. This is the winner's bracket, and generally play a little bit safer, a little bit smarter. Here comes Artha and the Jambition. Pressing into this tri-bush, they only manage to land a ward. They get scared by Talisman's auto attack, decide not to take any super big risks, fall back into their jungle. We'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, and again, for the most part, looking pretty standard for the start. I again assume we will see these top laners take a camp and teleport up top just for that little experience advantage, and if any of the bot lanes opt to take either Krugs or Gromp.
So Janna has decided to go for the Spell Thief's Edge. What do you think is a better item? Do you think Ancient Coin is better on Janna or Spell Thief's Edge, and why?
You can honestly go either one. I'm actually a fan of Spell Thieves just because you can get that little bit of extra gold right in the beginning, especially against a melee support. It really helps out. I'm a big fan of the slow once you upgrade Spell Thieves as well. Being able to throw that down just gives you a little bit more disengage and actually helps with a little bit of chase too in case your team's ahead. So I'm a big fan of going Spell Thieves on Janna.
And we are going to get to 155. Jungle camps are coming up. Trading is starting in the middle lane. Going to see how that goes.
And neither bot lane will be taking a camp early. Both junglers opting to start Krugs and Gromp, so pretty standard for the most part.
Yep, nothing too crazy going on in the beginning of this game. We'll see how Combat Flex does against Master in the top lane. He is on that NR, he does have that percent health damage, but I don't think it'll be able to overcome the innate sustain of a Maokai. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, we've got some trading going on. Neeks got the Janna shield, managed to get the double shot right onto Talisman. Yes, the double shot is a little bit low damage in the early parts of the game, but when you get the Janna shield in comparison to absolutely no protection, you're going to win the trade.
And we'll see how well this Braum can help zone away, and if he can hit his cues to initiate these fights. I do expect Jaina and Lucian to have a little bit of an edge there, though. In the mid lane, again, I'm such a big fan of Victor, and this pick into really any other mid laner that's not Azir, since he's been banned so often. We'll see if he's able to push Orianna in for the most part and get a little bit of a lead here.
We will definitely see that. Neeks and the Ambition getting pushed a little bit back into their tower. Combat Flex hitting the maximum Narbar. Throws out the ball. Here comes Echo in for a gank. Not much happens except Oxblazer is forced to burn his flash to get out. Directed camera is my enemy.
And that's always a plus. I mean, you don't get anything off of the gank, but getting any kind of summoner spell is very, very big, and you can always revisit while that flash is down.
It's definitely a good start. I actually really like Echo's ability to as early ganker, just because he can throw down that W, wait the few seconds out, and usually in the beginning of the game they only have 1 or 2 ways to run away, and usually it's going to be right into your parallel convergence. Anyways, we got some more trading going down in the bottom lane here. Talisman losing out on the trade pretty hard against Lucian. No CS lead for either side, but we should see this lane develop a little bit. Artha, looking at the top lane, Combat Flex has spotted him, throws out the boomerang, manages to get 2 procs of Hyper onto Artha, but not the 3rd one, so no % health damage for him. And Artha's just going to fall back into his jungle, try and go farm a little.
And already a little bit of a good sign for WPV. We saw yesterday how potent Artha's ganks were so early. I think like his first 2 or 3 ganks were all kills. So it's good to see that they were able to defy that a little bit.
Talisman getting some nice procs for the explosive shot onto Neeks. But Neeks with the potions and with the earlier damage advantage is getting the better of all of these trades. So I think Talisman needs to stop playing a little bit too aggressively. Especially as Neeks is looking to get some damage onto Ambition. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, again, just concentrating down here in the bot lane, and this is why I really like that Jaina Lucian matchup here. Being able to shield your AD when these trades are going on, you deflect so much damage going onto them, it just gives you that advantage each time you go to trade.
Definitely. They're pushing up the lane. In the middle lane, we got Shinichi trying to clear some minions. Trying to push towards the enemy tower. Explosive charge thrown out to clear some minions.
A little bit of a slow starting comparison to the other games we've had. We'll see how the junglers do on their second round of clears after they go back and buy. We'll see if they can get any early ganks off again, trying to pressure some of the lanes here.
Looks like Neeks is starting to build up a small experience advantage. And with the lane smashing into the tower, Talisman might lose if you hear. Tristana, one of the hardest AD carries to farm under tower with. Well, we'll see if Talisman can overcome that. Evens right back out to CS as he kills most of the wave.
And again, no big lead in any way, shape, or form in these lanes. CS is so close all across the board. Everything for the most part seems like it's going to stay that way again until either jungler can make a big difference.
Yep, we do see Confidence maybe hanging around this bottom lane a little bit. Looks like he wants to come in for the gank because Neeks and Ambition went in for a bit of a trade.
And Echo really hanging around this mid lane, really looking to see if he can get something before that flash comes back up.
We do see Artha coming into the bottom lane here, maybe having EPG looking for a gank. Transon trying to get some damage onto Ambition. Heal comes out from Talisman. Transon's going really low. Exhaust comes out onto Neeks. First blood goes to the Jambition. They're looking for Talisman too, but he is under the tower. Artha still managing to sneak into the lane. Echo hanging around. Looks like he doesn't really want to come in for the gank. Doesn't want to go in for the 2v2 because Talisman is so low. Not sure if they... And it looks like Artha did get spotted by a ward there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Combat Flex trading onto Master Poppy, getting 3 pops off.
And it's going to be really hard for Maokai to get any good trades once Mega is up, so it's really a difficult lane for him. Nar's a great pick against Maokai. As long as Maokai can just live through these early levels, get a couple items, he'll be able to get more effective trades, and hopefully Arthur will be able to make a trip up here, but early on, Nar's going to have a big advantage on him.
that would be the case. Master, just hanging around by straight, trying to fall back a little bit. He is starting to lose his damage trades, and doesn't have a ton of mana so that he can sustain back up. Confidence, just gonna pick up his red buff here. Maybe look for another gank. The Jambition hanging around mid lanes, dropping some warmth. Looks like he's gonna find Confidence doing his red buff, if he was so inclined to go in, but he sees Transon, decides not to press that too hard. Confidence is able to pick up his red buff safely.
Yeah, not too much that he would have been able to do there, but he does get the timer on the red buff, so he may be able to make a return visit there later on.
Misses picking up the boomerang, but does get the 3 stacks of Piper. Hops right away from that sapling. Highest base damage in the game. Don't think it would have meant much, however. Combat Flex still with a potion. Master Poppy completely out of mana and getting low on health. Looks like he's going to have to recall here. Any time now, he really needs to recall. Probably shouldn't be hanging around. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, Jambition knocking Talisman up into the air. Oh, Talisman's going low. Here comes the culling. He's looking for the kill. Exhaust goes down. Talisman flashes, and Neeks accidentally attacks the tower, so it rins the kill. But here comes Combat Flex. He has his ultimate. Oh no! Meganar expires just as he flashes, so he doesn't get anything. Jambition is being focused down, however, by Talisman. Talisman picks up the kill onto the Jambition, despite the small mistake. Blue team still comes out on top in that fight. Neeks heads back down to the bottom lane, try and pick up some CS, but this trade's already been lost.
Neeks went so deep, flashing right on that turret to try to pick up that kill, but he just can't get the damage off. And as he's going back, that Meganar just dissolves on him. Yeah, he ended up hitting the turret, but Meganar just expiring right as he flashes. He's unable to get that ultimate.
To burn his barrier. Here he comes with the ball, but it's not going to deal enough damage. Both mid laners getting knocked really low, but Oxblazer is the one with mana, so Shinichi is going to be the one forced to back off. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Artha's coming in, and he gets immediately buster shotted right out by Talisman. Talisman starting this game early really well.
Yeah, it gets up a nice little kill there off the back of that fight, so good for Talisman. That's definitely a start that he was looking to get, so he'll have a little bit of an advantage down here. And as for Sana, you want any advantage you can get.
Definitely. Neeks just trying to farm now. He can't really fight against Talisman. Not when Talisman has such a big lead now. They are both of the same items right now because Talisman hasn't had the chance to back, but with the low mana and the low health on Neeks, that bot lane doesn't really want to fight. Combat Flex coming out. Meganar is coming up, but Master Poppy is back by the tower, so he's going to be safe.
Yeah, and Master Poopy opting not to use his teleport to get down the bot lane during that fight, so he'll have that up if they want to try to re-engage down bot, and he'll be able to make the trip, but Combat Flex won't. We'll see if they try to take advantage of TP priority.
Yep. No CS lead built up in this bot lane yet. Despite the craziness of that previous trade, it hasn't really changed the amount of pressure from either of these AD carries or either of the supports. So things are mostly going the same. Neeks gets his recall interrupted. Janna Shield comes out. Throws out the Howling Gale. They might be looking to fight here, but I don't think it would be wise. 3. All 4 procs of the explosive charge. Neeks goes really low. Glacial Fissure comes out, but he uses Relentless Pursuit for the dodge. Master Poppy teleports in. Transon is stuck behind enemy lines. He goes for Neeks, misses the Winter's Bite, and Neeks is going to get out of that alive. Artha secures the kill, and it looks like EPG is going to look for the dragon.
Yeah, and so much damage put on Neeks during that fight. Tristana got that huge explosive charge to go right off, and with that teleport priority, Master Poopy decides to finally TP bot along with Artha ganking at the same time. It was just a death sentence for the Braum. He ended up just opting to hopefully go for that kill.
Trying for the steal, but Artha still manages to pick it up. Echo uses Chrono Break to escape the fight, but Confidence and Shinichi are now on the run. Throws out the Time Winder to slow up their Artha's team, and it's going to be alright as they escape. But we do see EPG rotating towards the middle lane. One tower taken by Combat Flex in top, giving them a small gold lead despite the loss of the dragon.
Yeah, they're able to get that dragon after the TP bot and the kill, and Master Poopy flashing past the dragon pit looking for a kill.
Look for the dive. Artha jumping in on Shinichi. Shinichi is trapped on the gravity field. He is going to go down to Artha. Wow. Probably not going to be able to take this turret, but it was a very nicely executed dive. Artha showing that he is probably the best early game jungler in this competition.
Yeah, we keep seeing him pressure these lanes really, really well. Another good gank bot
Neeks is
lane.
going low. 4 stacks of explosive charge. It's not going to be enough with the Buster Shot. Both Talisman and Neeks are knocked to almost 0 health. But after the 80 carry duel, both of them remain alive. Though Neeks is the one with his summoners coming up pretty soon.
And these fights bot lane are going so close. Even when it's 2v2, the trades have been very, very close, and they just keep missing out on this little bit of extra damage to finish off these kills. By now, honestly, there have been 3-4 different times where these ADs have missed out on finishing blows. I just wonder if some of these have been converted, how big of an advantage either one would have had.
Yeah, the AD carries are just so even in this bot lane. Always trading even when it looks like Talisman or Neeks is going to get an advantage off the fight. The other one surprises him, throws out a perfectly timed ability to get the trade evened up. They have even CS, and but what's really making the difference for this bot lane, what's really getting Talisman his lead, is the support difference, it seems, or actually the jungler. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, and we'll see if Artha decides to spend some more time down bot. But Combat Flex actually is TP priority now, so if he wants to make a trip, he'll definitely be able to, and Master Poopy won't be able to follow.
3 stacks on that explosive charge, but it is going to deal a little bit of damage, but again, the trade is even, especially after that well-aimed Piercing Light through the minions right onto Talisman. Meanwhile, on the top lane, we do see Artha and Oxblazer roaming up towards that direction, looking like they want to gank that top lane. But they decide to back off in the end. Nothing happens. X-Confidence hanging around in that blue side tribush, looking for the gank. But it looks like he's just going to fall back into his jungle, grab his Krugs, and then head back towards the middle lane. We'll see what happens.
And again,
Not
there's a
much
little bit
going
of a lull in the game here. After a couple crazy little fights down bot, everything seems to be mellowing out. I assume teams will be again looking to gain little advantages in the lane, hoping their junglers can find a little bit of a pick somewhere on the map and play for that next dragon that will be coming up.
Definitely. Looks like Confidence has decided to pick up a Sightstone this game. Both junglers opting for the Cinderhulk. Seems a little bit strange that Neko is ahead in items right now, but I'm guessing Artha is just sitting on a lot of gold. He looks like he's looking for the bottom lane. He is sitting on about 1k, so he might be looking to back soon. Neeks getting a great trade down into Talisman. Exhaust comes out, Glacial Fissure comes down onto Neeks. That was a really big explosive charge coming down into Neeks. Neeks gets stunned. Here comes the Howling. Oh, but that is going to be a kill for Talisman. He finishes off Neeks. 4 stacks of that passive onto Artha, and he is going to get stunned, but there's not enough fallout damage. Combat Flex looking for a Jambition. Stun comes out. His Mega Gnar is popping. Here comes the ultimate. Gnar is secured. The Jambition as a kill. Artha is going low next. That's going to be a double kill for Combat Flex. With Confidence coming into the lane, this is going to be an easy tower coming out for WPV. After a lull in the early game, they come around the bot lane and they win a really fast team fight.
And health bar is so low on the side of WPV. Very fortunate to keep everyone alive. And again, we're talking about that teleport priority. Gnar is able to make that trip down bot lane, and he's so huge. He's able to get a good ultimate, get 2 kill confirms after that, and that tower as well. A huge, huge fight for WPV. Big advantage for him.
Definitely, we do see Master Poppy getting a bit of his damage off on this tower. Not really going to fall. Combat Flex on the way up. Gets it about halfway up. Throws the sapling into the Tribush. Tries to scout any ganks from the behind.
Combat Flex is on the hunt here.
He's looking for it. He does have red buff. Master Poppy is going to get slowed down here. You aren't running from this one. Here comes the Righteous Glory, but it doesn't work when you're running away. He's got that Hyper up. He throws the rock, and he is going to secure the kill. Combat Flex on a killing spree.
And that red buff with Black Cleaver Gnar just doing so much damage. He's able to slow him. That advantage they got earlier when they were able to take the tower, there's nothing for Master Poopy to back off on. Combat Flex is able to chase so long, another kill, and again we see a top laner with a very big advantage.
Here comes Artha. Tunnels over into the red buff. Sees Transin all alone, but Confidence is coming around. Throws down the parallel convergence. It is going to land, but no stun. Oxblazer still on the chase. He's looking for the kill onto Transin. Misses the death ray, but Confidence is the one that takes it. Chaos Storm comes out, but it's not enough to finish. Here comes Combat Flex. Here comes Talisman. They're looking for Artha. 3 stacks, and he is going to fall to Talisman. Talisman wants more. Here comes the teleport coming up from Master Poppy. Combat Flex still doing work there at that red buff. He's going to jump over the wall. Nogbar is going to come up really soon. This is going to be a 3-man ultimate right back into WPV. The Glacial Fissure comes out, knocks up only one. But here comes Talisman. He's looking for Oxblazers. Gets stunned on the gravity field. Double kill for Shinichi as Neeks returns the kill onto the over-aggressive Talisman. Shut down for Neeks. Howling Gale knocks Combat Flex back. And that is a 3-for-2 trade in favor of WPV.
EPG reaching so far into the jungle of WPV. Artha diving a little bit further. They just
Neeks is going for Neeks is gonna die to Combat Flex. Combat Flex with a well dived. Shinichi giving him the movement speed buff. He needs to secure the kill. That might be a mid turret.
Combat Flex is just able to sit on the side and auto so much during that team fight. He was at an empty rage guard, ends up filling that up, getting a fantastic team fight after the too.
Yeah, that was such a good ultimate. Jumps right over the wall and then flashes and pushes the entirety of ATN right back towards his team. It didn't go perfectly because Talisman got a little greedy, but it was a win for them, and you can see them taking that by getting the damage on that middle lane tower and now securing the dragon, which looks like EVG has decided not to contest.
Yeah, they opted to trade for the tower mid lane instead, and might as well get something out of nothing.
Looks like Confidence doesn't want to get stunned by the gravity field, decides to ult right on back. And it's gonna be that Chrono Break is gonna be down for a little while as WPV groups towards the middle lane. Damage being done onto Artha.
And after that little bit of chaos, you know, WPV a small lead here, 1.5k lead. They're a little bit ahead in kills. They got that dragon, so they're able to even that up. That's a big moment for them.
Yeah, this is a pretty close game, but a close game is not in favor of EPG. Not when you have such like a strong late game potential coming out from WPV and you don't have that matching potential on your side.
And we'll see Baron is finally coming up here at the 20-minute mark. Most likely will be a little bit before we see any plays over there, but again, a little bit of a lull here. We'll see where the teams decide to spend most of their resources and what lanes they want to push.
And the gold distribution on WPV is just as good as yesterday. They're giving out the kills to the right people. They're getting Combat Flex kills, which after that first Black Cleaver makes him a legitimate damage threat. They're getting Shinichi kills, who even though he's a utility champion, has managed to pick up 2, is gonna get he's gonna be able to get really early towards his Rabadons, and then you have 3 kills on the Talisman. That is all of your kills are onto good people. Combat Flex just destroys Artha by his red buff, takes it away, says thank you as the rest of WPV is looking up to push up the mid lane. Sees Master Poppy, gonna get 3 procs at a hyper off, but with Meganar coming up, I don't think he wants to look too much for the dive.
And this is Combat Flex with the second game in a row where he is just a complete monster. Played huge on Maokai in his game before, another humongous lead in the top lane on Gnar here. He's able to split push, wreak havoc in their jungle, and pick up kills all over the place. He is definitely the one that is in a great position to carry this game.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that he's a top laner with versatility. And not someone who can only play that Maokai, which generally seems to be the case when you see Maokai players. But anyways, we got the calling coming out. A 2-man shockwave lands onto the front line of EPG, but Transin is going low to the Chaos Storm. He's going to die to Oxblazer. Master Poppy gets knocked back by Talisman's Buster Shot and dies to the follow-up auto attack. But here comes 2 double kills coming right out of EPG. They fought the team fight better. They had the tower, and now they're going to push up this middle lane. Combat Flex, the only one remaining. How did EPG win that fight so easily?
They just picked the perfect time to fight. Combat Flex's Meganar just ran out. They get a fantastic Maokai engage and a fully channeled pulling. So much damage off.
Rest in peace, Neeks.
And Combat Flex.
Holy hell, dude.
And that's a little bit of miscommunication. You know, they kept Lucian and Jaina mid to push that tower down, but a full health Victor and Rek'Sai decided to move over to the side. You know, if they were there as 4 pushing that tower, it definitely would have gone down, but just to split a little bit leaves an opening for Combat Flex. He takes advantage of it.
Seems that maybe Kuro Sekai had a better way of working with the team than Nyx, but Nyx is doing pretty well in this game. He went pretty even in the lane, and he's doing good enough for his team's AD carry position.
Yeah, and had a fantastic culling there in that last fight. He got all the bullets off. I think they all hit as well, so...
Yeah, but it's definitely seeming to me that Talisman is the one with the stronger synergy with his support and the more practiced AD carry for this team. He did carry extremely hard yesterday, and it looks like they're falling back to him again, as well as Combat Flex, who apparently had played his first game on Maokai yesterday, but because of the early advantage that was basically fed straight to him, it ended well.
Yeah, and again, I think Combat Flex is showing off his strength as a top laner. 2 straight games on really different types of champs, and he's shown up big on both of them. So we'll see if he continues to split push this top lane and show up big for those team fights as well.
We definitely will see whether or not that is the case, as WPV looking for many different options against them across the map. They want to take down that middle lane first tier tower so that they can get some more map control in EPG's jungle. But with Dragon coming up in a minute and 20 seconds, they may not yet be their priority.
And a little bit of an advantage for EPG here for this next Dragon. They have WPV's mid tower down while theirs is still up. So that'll give them a little bit of room to push that wave and get some deeper wards out. They might be able to clear some of the wards on WPV's side as well, which it looks like Arth is doing currently.
Yep, Confidence and Shinichi coming in to ward up this Dragon. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Narbar has been he tries to throw Master Poppy into the wall. It does not connect though, and depending on the cooldown of that Gnar, might not be back up in time for the Dragon fight, but his teleport sure is.
Yeah, an 80-second cooldown for that. We'll see what they opt to do when this next Dragon comes up. If both top laners decide to join the fight, I think that gives a little bit of an advantage.
Here comes Artha. Combat Flex is all alone against 3 because Archblazer is coming in. Artha flashes for the knockup. Combat Flex is gonna go down here. Shutdown coming out for Master Poppy off of the back of a really well-executed triple gank coming in from EPG, and thanks to the ultimate of Rek'Sai, she's still going to be present for the Dragon fight. Well-timed gank. Here comes the Glacial Fissure, does not connect, however, Talisman jumps in, gets the 4 stacks onto Neeks, but as he was exhausted, he didn't manage to secure the kill. Transcendent on the front line, here comes the Shockwave, lands onto Neeks. Shinichi manages to secure the kill, but it was the only one that Shockwave landed on. Shinichi's going to go down next. Confidence is the last one remaining for him, and he doesn't look like he's going to be able to get away. Never mind! He uses the Chrono Break to get right on out of the fight. He's going to be the only survivor for WPV as EPG goes to take the Dragon.
And that fight was all Neeks. He's able to push aggressively against 3 members of WPV. He dodges Brahm's ultimate and is able to get his Piercing Light off on all 3 of them. He gets so much burst down, he's able to take out Talisman early, get another solid pony off. He does end up going down to the Orianna, but he was able to get so much damage off before he went. Very strong plays from him.
That exhaust was essential. It completely prevented Talisman from finishing off the kill. If he had his full damage when he was hitting Lucian and got all 4 of those stacks off the explosive charge like he did, that ultimate from Janna would not have been able to save him.
Definitely,
but as it was, the exhaust was the exhaust was enough to prevent the kill.
Big fight for EPG. They were a little bit behind,
well played.
But
well played by
that team fight, getting that Dragon, they're a little bit ahead now.
Okay, so we do see Talisman and Transon here in the bottom lane, looking to rotate back towards the middle lane. Dragon is not going to be in contention for a few more minutes yet. It got taken after EPG after that last fight. They have 2 Dragons, but we're about to hit the 30-minute mark, so Dragon might not be a big impact on this game. It would take a while for them to hit Dragon 5, and I don't think WPV is ready to just give them right up. This game is extremely even.
Yeah, even on kills, very similar gold, close on towers, close on Dragons. We're going to see where these teams decide to go and what objectives they decide to push hard for. It's really going to be an interesting mid game.
Yes, it will. Neeks gets shielded by that Janna, who has built the Ardent Sensor. Gets a nice bit of extra magic damage and attack speed from that item. I do want to see the Zeke's Harbinger coming out from Jambition. He is pretty far ahead. Seems like a bit of a wasted item slot to build Ardent Sensor instead of that. But here comes Combat Flex. He's jumping in onto Neeks. Here comes the ult from Janna to save Neeks' life. Combat Flex does not have Mega Gnar, so he is going to go down to the culling, the Jambition, making the great play to keep his AD carry alive to the damage, and they manage to secure the kill onto Combat Flex. Here comes the ult from Arfa towards the mid lane. Master Poppy comes in onto Shinichi. Shinichi lands a 3-man shockwave! Oxblazer is going pretty low, but there is no follow-up damage because Talisman is not here. Shinichi is being focused. Oxblazer throws at the death ray. He's on a killing spree. Here comes Talisman. Secures the shutdown right onto the Victor. Now Jambition and Poppy are here, but so is Neeks. So this is going to force Talisman to run away as ATN plays the team fight better, and they end up winning it, and they're going to go for Baron 10 seconds before Combat Flex comes up, 30 seconds before the jungler does. This should be a fairly easy Baron for EPG.
EPG keeps picking the perfect time to jump on Combat Flex. They keep waiting that Mega Gnar out. The second it goes down, they engage. They pick up a really big kill up top on Combat Flex, and then another big fight breaks on mid. Talisman wasn't there.
Jambition has gone down. Master Poppy is coming in at Talisman. Talisman gets absolutely obliterated. Neeks is trying to do some more. He is way far away. Master Poppy getting damaged by the Baron. EPG still taking off these Baron shots. Combat Flex jumps over and... Wait, what? How did Talisman kill her? What? Anyways, Combat Flex is not able to secure the kill. Master Poppy is on a rampage, but that was well enough as they managed to secure the Baron.
I'm gonna assume that Combat Flex actually didn't damage him at all. The Baron ended up picking up that kill.
Oh, I see now. I'm like, what the? It's like Talisman's dead for 3 seconds.
Yeah, never ended up hitting him, and the Baron is able to take that last bit of chunk of health away, but a huge defense by WPV.
Shinichi just got obliterated by Oxblazer, and here comes Confidence looking for to return the kill into Oxblazer, lands the passive, Glacial Finger comes down and knocks Oxblazer up. Looks like he might get stunned by Confidence's W, but it's not going to be enough. The Jambition's ultimate is enough to save his life. Now, EPG is on the chase. They want to chase after Confidence, but it's not going to be enough. Euphorium Gaming wins that fight, and they're maybe looking to pressure the Baron yet again. Dragon coming up in 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Another really good pick. They're able to get that pickup kill on Shinichi. Combat Flex was just respawning as well, and no TP this time, so EPG jumps to the Baron again. They might be able to pick this up.
Neeks has just joined the fight for Baron. They really need to turn off this. Here comes the rest of Windows Photo Viewer. So they really need to stop the Baron. Okay, they turn off it. They're going after Transon. Transon does get Chilling Smited, and here comes the Randoans as well. Transon is going to go down to Neeks. Confidence is stuck alone against Master Poppy and Ambition, but he flashes over the wall to get away. Talisman going to be helping here in the mid lane with Shinichi's wave clear. So no turret is going to come out for them. Oh! A shockwave comes onto Neeks, but Neeks manages to dash away before any follow-up comes through. Poppy loses his twisted advance on the Combat Flex. All 4 stacks of explosive charge going to Poppy with a huge command dissonance damage, is able to secure that damage for Combat Flex. Combat Flex jumps in. He gets a triple kill as Talisman follows up and gets the 4th kill of that fight. 4 kills come out for WPV. This might be the Baron for them now because there are 4 members down for EPG and they're headed for the Baron.
And these fights keep going back and forth. This time, EPG pushes a little bit too far. Orianna's able to get a nice shockwave on Neeks, and they just overcommit. They stay a little bit too long. Combat Flex is there to catch up. Another nice little dissonance from Orianna, gets so much damage off that when Combat Flex ults, he's able to take 2 away. They pick up 2 more after that on top of a Baron. A huge swing in the favor of WPV.
Definitely, and that is going to be the Baron for WPV. Dragon is going to be coming up in 15 seconds. It doesn't seem like WPV is in a position for it, but they are rotating in that direction. Talisman is going to use his Baron-empowered recall to get back to base really quickly. Doesn't have Home Guard, however, so he is not going to be present for this upcoming Dragon fight. 3, 2, 1, and it is alive. Here comes Transon, drops that pink ward, but it looks like EPG is deciding to give up this Dragon again. They don't want to fight that Baron buff. Smart choice.
Yeah, I think it's the right call here. WPV only has 1 Dragon to begin with, so giving up a second one isn't the biggest deal. And they've shown that they can win team fights if it goes their way, so I think it's definitely the smart move to play safe here. Just turtle this Baron out and hope to get some more team fights after the fact. And on WPV's side, great pickup for that second Dragon. Really, they need to pick a good lane to push and get something off of this Baron. They need to.
And that is going to be a mid-turret. The last one for WPV, they finally managed to break that front line. and we're down to even turrets for both teams, except for the fact that WPV has one turret alive in their front line, and that'll be the bottom tower. So that's definitely going to be EPG's next tower of their next target once the Baron buff runs out and they can start pushing again.
Yeah, and we'll see again what WPV decides to do with this Baron. Do they want to sit 5 here mid and try to force a fight and push up this mid, or do they want to have Combat Flex try to split push? He's still very, very big and I think has a huge advantage over that Maokai, so being able to push 2 lanes with Baron buff might be a smart idea from him.
That is the case. Confidence gets knocked up by the Howling Gale. Not going to do anything though, as there is no follow-up. They, again, do not want to fight against that Baron. So Dana just trying to keep her Monsoon up, just trying to sit in the middle of the fight. Make sure to keep WPV from engaging, especially Combat Flex. So they have to watch that Narbar and they have to respect it once it gets high up.
Yeah, definitely a strange option here. They actually send Izumi up top on Orianna. Strange that that's the chance that they would send a split push in case EPG decides to initiate. There's no fast way for them to get back, but we see he actually comes back down, looks to be taking blue buff, and will most likely rejoin the team here.
Yeah, it seems like they decided to send Orianna up there just because she has the wave clear to quickly clear that wave. So if you send anybody else up there, they're not going to be able to clear it quite as quickly as Shinichi is, who can clear it with just Q and W, and the whole wave is gone, and then he can just walk right back. But for anybody else, it would have to be multiple auto attacks or multiple abilities to clear out that whole wave. So it would take longer for them to come back to the team.
Yeah, but the only other one that would be able to clear as fast would be Tristan, and you don't really want to send your primary source of damage away, so...
And she doesn't have Shiv anyway, so not the greatest wave clear. So better than most data carries.
A little bit of a waste of that Baron buff. They didn't get too much off of it.
They didn't get anything off of it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, getting that mid turret doesn't really count. Just they didn't really do anything with it. They decided to just sit mid and wait for each team to clear the wave.
I'm not sure why they were kind of somewhat afraid to fight during that Baron. Like it's like they're so afraid of throwing that they don't engage. And I guess that's inexplainable frame of mind. But when you have the Baron, you need to take advantage of that. Push out your side lanes. Get the minions to the towers and use that. Get to the towers, kill one on an out rotation. That's what you need to do in that situation, and that's not what WPV did. And
let your top laner carry. He's 9-3-8. He's already proved that he definitely has the capability of doing that. Let Combat Flex go to work on top, and you have 2 lanes pushing with those Baron buffed minions. But instead they opt to play very, very passive. And it looks like we're just going to be fighting over objectives for the most part of the rest of this game. Neither team really wants to make a huge push. The next Dragon might be that big objective that they decide to fight over.
Yeah, it seems like WPV is just, they just want to look for the perfect fight. But you're almost never going to get the perfect fight. You just got to look for the good one. Oxblazer and the rest of EPG just clearing out some minions, trying to push to this bottom lane tower. The only exposed tower left on WPV's side. So as predicted, that was their objective. Meanwhile, Artha seems to be hovering around towards the middle lane. He does have his ultimate available, so if his team gets into trouble, he can get back.
Yeah, and kind of strange, all of EPG moved down bot to try to finish off that last turret, and WPV answered them, and we just kind of saw that 5v5 mid translate down to the bot lane, and again, very passive play, and they might get a pick here off on Artha.
Combat Flex has found Artha, but with his bounce down, he's not going to be able to follow Artha through the wall.
And they do finally convert this turret down bottom.
Yeah, that was over-focus on what Artha's ability to push was. He wasn't going to push all the way through mid lane tower. It wasn't worth completely abandoning your bot lane for no reason like that. And you do see Artha now split pushing in the top lane. This is reflecting that WPV so far, this game has had a fairly poor side wave control. This is why they couldn't use their Baron effectively, because they didn't have their side waves pushing up.
And so much damage off of
that was a lot of damage, but anyway, yeah, they didn't have their side waves pushing up. They're letting EPG completely control the side waves this game, and side wave control is super big at this stage of the game. And you see Artha taking yet another turret, almost completely uncontested.
And that's definitely what we wanted to see from either of these teams. Being able to split a lane on the side of EPG, you know, you have a teleport on Maokai, but you also have the global ult from Artha, so definitely someone who's able to split push as well. He's able to pick up another tower. Him being mid forced the rest of WPV away, so they really get that bottom tower as well. So 2 towers off a little cheeky play from Artha, definitely worth it.
Yeah, and we're definitely seeing EPG's extremely smart shot calling coming into work again. It wasn't amazing during the early game, but they've definitely brought it back, and they seem to be on task again. They seem to be the same team we saw yesterday against I think it was PMM, where their strong shot calling got them this far, and it continues to make sure that they get even farther. Despite the deficit in damage they're running against the other team, their smart shot calling is still getting them objectives, and they don't even need Barons to get them.
And here's this Dragon.
Dragon is getting pretty low.
But not EPG's position.
Yeah, EPG doesn't want a team fight right now. There's just way too much damage that's in the favor of WPV, but they do want to try and steal this Dragon. Artha's gonna try and smite steal, but the Baron, the Dragon is gonna go to Talisman. The jumping through confidence does not manage to land a stun onto anybody. They're chasing onto EPG, but EPG is on the run. Talisman is able to secure the Dragon, and it looks like WPV might look to rotate for Baron or the middle lane. Either way, it would be a good decision. They have the advantage in this situation.
Yeah, no humongous advantage gained from that. You do get third Dragon on the side of WPV. Flash was burned on Victor, but now they're making that transition over to Baron, and EPG is nowhere near.
Yeah, EPG is giving up the Baron for the bottom lane pressure. You see them all running down here right now. Artha is the only one who went up there. He didn't manage to get there in time to contest the Baron, but it does look like if there is no home guards coming in from WPV, they're not going to be able to defend this tower. It's only home guards. Yeah, here come the home guards. They're running it back to lane, but there's way too much damage from Neeks. The turret has been destroyed, and we are going to go into a pause.
Yeah, but you have a pause coming out, but right before that, yeah, I mean, after the back of that Dragon, WPV just rushes over to Baron, and EPG lets them. You know, they didn't have too much vision. They knew it must have been happening, though, because they did have one on the front side of the Baron, so they had an idea of it. They opted to push that bot lane, though, so just no way to react to it. Artha was a little bit late, no way to attempt for a steal. They do get a tower, that tier 2 tower bot lane, but definitely not a good trade for them. Huge pickup for WPV, and we'll see what they can push with this Baron. They didn't get too much off their last one. Hopefully they'll be able to take advantage of the second one that they get.
And it's all about whether or not that they can control the side lanes this time. They can't just have their whole team pushing up the middle lane. You saw when EPG had the initiative and they were pushing up that bot lane, Artha did not stay there with them. He went to the middle lane. He got their other lanes pushing, and with that, he managed to take the top lane tower. And of course, there was also that smart call when they knew that they weren't going to be able to get to Baron in time to contest or steal, that they sent all of their members down bot lane and got yet another tower. Yes, WPV is getting the better of the objectives, but EPG is getting the better of the turrets. So we're going to see which strategy is going to be the winning one. I'm going to go for the turrets.
You never know. I mean, this Baron, it can be so strong if they can get the split push down. I really feel like the play is to have 4 in one lane, send combat flex to whatever lane you want him to push, let him go to work. If you can get any kind of pick off in the lane, whether EPG decides to counter and send someone to stop combat flex, or if they have all 5 mid, you still have an Orianna for disengage, you still have a Braum for disengage. Combat Flex will be able to teleport in, hopefully, with that Mega Bar enabled, and they'll get a big advantage. They're going to have 2 lanes pushing with those Baron minions. Just trust in yourself that you can play this map well with a Baron buff, because if you can't, that Baron's not going to help you too much, and you're just going to get bled out from these towers going down.
Yeah, and I think EPG is playing this game in the right way. They know that they have a weaker team fight in the later stages of the game, which is the stages we're getting to, with this Tristana having all of her damage items complete, unless she builds like a QSS into a, you know, what is it called, the scepter thing. But anyways, definitely getting into the late game stages, that WPV has the team fight advantage in that situation. They have more AoE crowd control, they have more AoE damage, and they have a better AD carry for the stage of the game. So it's really smart of EPG to know that they're not going to be able to fight super hard late game, and instead keep taking advantage of WPV's poor rotations to take towers when they're not there to contest.
Yeah, and it's just so hard for EPG to get a good pick off now. Really, Lucian is going to get to that point where he's falling off a little bit. Artha not dealing the most damage on Rek'Sai. Again, your top laner, you have Maokai. Great for CC, great for utility, not the most damage. You have to have this Victor hopefully blow up a priority target in this team fight, and it's so hard for him to do that when you're playing against a Baron buff, against a team that has a lot of disengage and shields like they do. So we'll see if they can get a really big pick off in a team fight. If Oxblazer can get a full combo down on Orianna or Tristana, he has that damage that he can blow some of them up. It's going to be so hard for him. If he can play it perfect, that'll be huge for EPG.
Yeah, definitely. I think they really need to just make a pick before any kind of team fight right now. I don't think they can really win the straight 5v5, especially if Combat Flex's Narvar is up. Just so far, they're more fed. They're stronger. Even if that gold lead is going to start equaling out soon, as far as the carries are concerned. They're more fed. Their gold distribution is better, so that the individual carriers on their team are doing better, except for in the case of Izumi. But Izumi is more there for the utility, and he already has the items he needs to have the impact he needs to. Get that shockwave in, get the dissonance follow up, and make sure that your carries are shielded. That's the job of the Orianna in these fights, and he's managing to get them, and he has the right items for that. So really, it's really whether or not EPG can make a pick before these fights, because if they try to fight straight 5v5, it's almost always going to end bad. Yes, Confidence's W isn't very effective in these later stages of the game, but but they still have Gnar, and Gnar can throw your entire team into the wall, and if he does, then it's going to result in immediate follow-up shockwave on multiple targets. It's a great combination that WPV has formed into their teamfight strength this game.
Yeah, absolutely, and again, we'll see what they decide to do with the Baron. The Victor on the other side and Lucian, they both have great wave clear ability, so when they don't have this Baron up, it's really hard to siege towers unless they're splitting, so they really got to use this Baron to its full effectiveness and get something off of it. Hopefully you can get a couple turrets, maybe an inhib, and if you get a good fight, take advantage of it and push that all the way.
Pause is still going on. Remember, the limit for pause time is 15 minutes, and once that time passes, the teams will have to unpause whether they like it or not, unless the other team decides to dedicate their pause time to it, of course.
And hopefully we'll see them getting back in the game here soon. Much rather, I mean, this is a fantastic game that's going on. We definitely want to see it played out to its fullness, so...
They're killing my hype right now.
Yeah, you'd hate to see something else affect the outcome of the game.
For some reason, I can't see the chat anymore.
Or either.
Okay, according to Artha, the game has been unpaused. That'll be coming up in a few minutes. Remember, since we're the spectators, we have a 3-minute delay. It's good because it prevents anybody from ghosting.
Much as Artha wants to. Yeah, well, again, I'm not sure what they're going to have to do with this Baron. I really hope we either see a big 5-man pressure and maybe looking for a big engage under a tower, or they just decide...
Yeah, we'll definitely see that. So what do you think of this Lucian so far?
I've actually been pretty impressed with him. Watching that early game, they had so many trades going back and forth bot lane, and it was looking so even, and I was really, really impressed with that fight by the Dragon, where he got really good piercing light on 3. He was able to kill off the Tristana, get a really good culling, and he's had a couple really good cullings. He's been cut out a couple times, but overall I feel like he's played quite well for the game for the most part. And
yeah, but I really think that the bottom lane for EPG has been mostly Jambition. Janna is not the flashiest champion, but he has been making an impact in this lane. Neeks would be he is completely outplaying Transcend, and you can see that just from the score. He's definitely using his utility better for his AD carry, and I think he's probably the best support in the Master League right now, just from what I've seen so far.
I just can't talk enough about how Combat Flex has played in his game so far. He's just been such a big impact on both champs that he's played, and You gotta appreciate the fact that he's doing so much on different types of champs and with different types of pressure too. Because in that first game, he got camped a little bit and was able to turn it around. And here you see that they have focused him a little bit. They've come up when his mega bars run out and put a lot of pressure on him, and he's still able to get so much damage off and very nice ults. So we'll see what he can continue to do here.
We will, and looks like X Confidence has reconnected and will finally be unpausing the game.
You're getting right back into it.
Gonna be getting back into this game. Remember, it's Windows Photo Viewer versus EPG, or Ethereum Gaming, which I have a really hard time pronouncing all the time. And we're getting in here, and it looks like Izumi is gonna go over there, take the blue buff.
And again, this Baron buff was just taken for him, so they have for the most part a full timer. Let's see where they push for it. They have a really big wave up top, and it looks like Combat Flex is going towards that as well. So with 4 mid and Combat Flex top, we do have that split starting.
We do. Confident right here in the middle lane with the rest of his team. Talisman on a lot of items. All of his damage is complete, and with this Baron buff, there is a huge wave in top for Combat Flex. Looks like this tower is going to go down once Combat Flex can get up to the tower and kill the rest of the minions. Transon takes a few tower shots, but Talisman is going to be putting down the damage onto this middle lane tower. The middle lane tower gets absolutely obliterated. WPV making a much better use of this Baron than the last one.
Yeah, Tristana just blowing towers up. They're able to get that top one as well off that split push, and definitely already looking a little bit better use of Baron.
Yeah, this time they had the side wave control, and it's not just for taking the side wave tower that you need that side wave control for rotations, but it's for the pressure it generates. And you saw Combat Flex generate the pressure. It brought people up there to stop that, and it made it easier for Izumi and the Talisman to get their ranged auto attacks onto that middle lane second tier tower, and ended up securing it, and it ended up securing both of them thanks to the split pressure.
Meek's taking a couple autos there. Half his health bar gone from the Tristana. That is not a good sign for the side of EPG.
It is not. Oh, the shockwave to kill Ambition right off. That makes this game 4v5 for the next 50 seconds. That is going to be the top lane inhibitor going down in the favor of WPV. They finally broke in the base. They finally established a lead in this game. So close. As they fall back.
Huge pickup for the side of WPV. Getting a nice little pick, they're able to get that tower and an inhib down. Exactly what they needed from this Baron buff, and they're going to keep pushing here.
Yes, they will. Going up the mid lane, Talisman looking to drop his explosive charge on that tower. Gets it, gets 3 stacks. That's going to do. Oh, wow! Oh, the explosive charge finishes him off on the tower!
To the turret! Oh, what a miss! That is so big for WPG.
That's 50 seconds without UPG's 80 carry. Oxblazer is going to follow. Talisman looking for more. They're going on to Master Poppy. Triple kill for Talisman. He's looking for yet more. He's looking for Arthur. Sorry, it was a double kill actually. Wow, crazy fight. That's 3. Actually, no, it wasn't a triple kill. It was unofficial. But it looks like WPV is going to kill the Nexus turret, and they're going to win the game. WPV is going to move on to the North American Master League Winter Championship Finals after decimating 3 EPG. But EPG is going to have another chance. They're dropping to the losers bracket semifinals, and we'll see whether or not they can go back to the finals and get a rematch.
And what an explosive ending. It kind of came out of nowhere. They had this Baron buff. They were able to push down both mid and top after initiating that split. They get a really surprising pick off on the Janna with a nice Orianna ult, and it just blows the Janna up. They take that tower. They take that inhib. They move down, and they get another really cheeky kill off on Neeks. And you know, a little bit of a misplay. He walks towards that turret, which that explodes and hits him and finishes him off. Just fantastic pick off towards the end with Baron. You're going to be able to push those inhibs down and eventually the game.
Definitely, and with that game, that means EPG, Ethereum Gaming, is going to drop into the losers bracket semifinals, where they will face off against PMM in our next game. Let's talk a little bit more about this game and how the WPV managed to work together to bring back a game that it didn't look like they were winning. The gold, it was just so even all game.
Yeah, I mean, they were always in it. They always had that chance of overtaking the lead, and it really went back and forth for the majority of this game. Each team had leads. Team fights went both ways. You saw really big plays on both sides, but those two Barons were big. The first one, they didn't really get much off of it, but the goal, the timer, it really, really helped. And that second Baron was just kind of a backbreaker. They were able to get a Baron off losing a Dragon. Like that's huge.
It definitely is, and just so everybody knows, going into the finals tomorrow, which will be a best of 3, going into the finals, because WPV is the higher seed, they will have side choice for games 1 and 3, while whoever wins the losers bracket semifinals will have side pick for game 2. But most importantly, if the losers bracket wins in the best of 3, going into the finals, then they will need to beat them again in a best of 1 for one more chance to see if they can finally secure a complete victory. Because the winners bracket guy, he hasn't lost yet, so and they need to lose a match so that they get a chance at the losers bracket. Yeah, that's how double elimination works.
Yeah, and WPV definitely deserving of that winner's side spot. Fantastic game played. They're able to push their advantages, and we'll see who they will end up facing in that game as well. EPG, and I believe it's PMM in the next game. So
yep,
both teams looking relatively good. We'll see who is able to take it and go to the finals.
Yeah, it was a very well thought game by EPG. They still had that strong shot calling we saw from yesterday. That hasn't changed. I think their synergy between their bottom lane players could use a little bit of work, but the Jambition did do really well in that game. I think it made Neeks look like he was performing a little bit better than he was, but Neeks was performing well. I'm not saying he's bad. It's just that Talisman overall performed better as an AD carry, and the bottom lane as a synergistic duo was performing better together. Artha's early game jungle pressure was absolutely fantastic. EPG is probably the best early game team in this league. So far, they usually have plus 5 to 1,000 gold differential at 10 minutes or 20 minutes. So that means that they have a stronger early game, and I'm looking for them to keep that up in their next game against PMM, who they actually defeated yesterday. But now it's going to be a rematch to see if PMM can get it back.
To see this last game, to see who ends up finals. It'll be a very good one.
Yeah, it'll be a very good one. Any last thoughts about the match we just witnessed?
No, a little bit of an upset. I was expecting EBG to take that game, but just very well played from WPV.
Yep.
Combat Flex is a monster.
That's going to be it for now. We're going to take a short 15-minute break before we get into our last game of the day. Don't go anywhere. This has been the North American Master League Weekend Championship. Nico Novendavali, and I'll be right back here with my co-caster Bear. See you in 15 minutes.